course you do.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Friday morning. You know, what's weird to think about, when how we talk about how the kids today don't remember when we had record players and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't that long ago. Just think 100 years ago. What would that have been? That would have been the year 1915, right?
Yes.
How difficult it was to really get around the world. I mean, you could. We had ships and we were doing better. But then just go 200 years ago, right? The world has, because of transportation, because of communication, I mean, we're so much more aware of everything happening in the world at any given time, not to mention the fact that we can travel pretty much anywhere we want at any given time. And in a way, it's a good thing. It's kind of like the Disney thing. It's a small world, right? Yuki Oikawa is on the phone, and he's been with us before, and I always have a hard time saying his name. He's a Japanese political expert. He's from Japan, but I think today he's in New York.
Yes.
Am I right about that? He'll tell us in a second. He served as the Director of Foreign Affairs for the Happiness Realization Party of Japan. He's a commentator of Japanese politics and Japanese-American relations, an historian, and he's written a book called Into the Storm of International Politics, The New Standards of the World Order. And let me say good morning. Then we have some things to talk about, especially these two hostages that are kind of just very troubling for all of us. Good morning, Yuki. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning.
Are you in New York?
Actually, I'm in New York. I'm just visiting.
No, you haven't been in New York since we last spoke to you, have you?
Yeah. Actually, my base, my hometown is at the moment Tokyo, and I'm doing my political activities all over Japan. But regularly, I visit the U.S.
Okay, well, I have some fun things I want to ask you about, but on a serious, very serious note, what is Japan, and maybe I already know this answer, but from your perspective, what is Japan saying about these two hostages that are possibly going to be beheaded if they haven't already? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Okay, yeah, first of all, we Japanese people are in extremely difficult situation at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, the deadline the ICS provided 72 hours already passed. And Japanese government has not yet announced anything. But I guess that they could have done something, including the secretly negotiating with ISIS. But let me talk about our government situation. The Japanese government already knew the ISIS would demand ransom for two hostages because two hostages, Japanese hostages, are captured by ISIS 6 months ago, and this became already big news in last year, and ISIS demanded to some certain kind of money to the family of one hostage, Mr. Goto. And that's why the government knew maybe the ISIS has been waiting for the best timing to threat Japanese government. And then last week, the Prime Minister Abe visited Middle Eastern countries. So that was the timing, and then they uploaded the video. So that's happened.
Yeah, and I just looked to see if ABC or CNN had any updates, and I guess they still don't know. But what time is it in Japan? It's in the evening now, right? It's already. It's the end of the day, right, in Japan?
Almost the end of the day.
Yeah. My goodness, I don't know what we're going to do about these ISIS guys, but you know, Japan and America are allies now. I mean, we haven't always been, but we are now, and hopefully we can work together to put an end to this stupid stuff.
That's right. Actually, we are very glad, together with the U.S., that we have the ally, and the United States already confirmed the strong attitude against the terrorists. So we never negotiate with the terrorist, any terrorist, and we are on the same page. The Japanese government, in this case, they already decided not to pay any kind of ransom. So this is their official or the decision inside the government.
Is there a way for us to understand what the attitude might be of the two men? I mean, does the culture in Japan? I mean, you obviously have the culture of Japan in you. So would their attitude be different than, let's say, a hostage who was American?
You know,
No.
This case is very special because two hostages, mainly the first guy, Mr. Yukawa, he went to Syria by himself. I mean, for his own business. You know, his business is military. He set up his own private military contracting company in Japan and also in Middle East. You know, the military company, we don't have military company in Japan and no business opportunities. So that's why Mr. Yukawa went to Syria to set up the military company for his own business.
Oh, okay.
So that's why that is his private activity and business activity. We knew this. And Mr. Yukawa was captured by Al Qaeda beginning of last year at first, and then he was released.
Oh my gosh!
And then came back to Japan, and then he went to Syria again.
Oh wow!
Then captured by ISIS this time. This is the second time. He became hostage.
Do you know what I don't understand, Yuki? I don't understand why when we have civilized countries, like Japan, like the United States, and like Russia, why isn't Russia on the same page as us? I mean, Russia is a civilized country. Why are they suddenly seeming like they're the enemy? I mean, shouldn't they be on our side too? I mean, we all seem to want the same things.
You're right. You're right, and I totally agree. And from the Japanese point of view, the current the Russian president Putin, actually he is a judo player. You know the judo.
Yeah.
The Japanese traditional martial arts.
Is he good at it?
He is very good at it.
Oh really?
He has what we call the black belt. It's a high ranked the player.
Oh, okay.
So that's why we have a kind of sympathy with Mr. Putin. And although we have a territorial dispute in the past, the Russia, I think, changed and became the civilized side, and also I hope they belong to the free world. So we share the same value of the freedom.
Yeah. And comment on China in that regard too. I mean, China is also a civilized country, obviously with some very big differences, but still, I mean, it looks like they've embraced the whole idea of capitalism somewhat. Correct?
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. I think China has been very working hard in 1980s, 90s to develop their own economic prosperity. And they succeeded a lot, and I think they try to belong to our side as well. However, just recently China changed, especially the current Chinese president Xi Jinping. He is different kind of Chinese leader. He is very aggressive. And after he became the Chinese president, China started the very aggressive invasion into other country, other areas. That's why the East Asian country like Vietnamese, Philippines, Taiwan, and Japan are suffering a lot. So this is
No, really.
This is another big international issue.
We are up against the break, Yuki. Let me take a little break and we'll be right back. Yuki Oikawa up in New York. His home is Tokyo, Japan. And his book, we haven't really talked about the book, so let's make sure we talk about the book. It's called Into the Storm of International Politics. We'll do that when we come back. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
Regions Bank has big bank ability but possesses small bank agility. Utilizing tools like Raymond Andrews and his team of 6 mortgage experts with 100 years of experience in the mortgage industry and 50 years experience as members of the Regions Bank team. Mortgage lending is personal and important, and you deserve someone that will lead you through a positive process. Raymond and his team use local mortgaging processes like local appraisers and local closing to help you have a positive experience, and they habla Espanol as well. So whether you need a conventional, FHA, USDA, or VA loan, or you even need a construction loan, the mortgage team of your local Regions Bank has the knowledge and experience to guide you through the process. So contact Raymond Andrews and his team of mortgage experts at 352-854-4104. That's 352-854-4104. Regions Bank, it's time to expect more.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OiKalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OiKalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll turn out mostly cloudy today and breezy. It'll be warm, too, with a couple of showers or even a thunderstorm later this afternoon, high 76 to 80. Tonight, cloudy, breezy, and mild with a shower or a thunderstorm, low 63 to 67. Tomorrow, cloud and a shower to start, then some sun in the afternoon, breezy and cooler with highs in the 60s. For Sunday, sunshine, high 62 to 66. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
All right, 12 minutes before 10 o'clock, I just went online to the Associated Press and looked at the story from 1 hour ago. It's the most recent story I could find. Militants affiliated with the Islamic State group have posted an online warning that the countdown has begun for the group to kill a pair of Japanese hostages. And I'm sure you've been following this story. The posting, which appeared this morning, shows a clock counting down to 0, along with gruesome images of other hostages who have been beheaded by the Islamic State group. The military group gave Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe a 72-hour deadline, which expired already, to pay a $200 million ransom. And as our guest tells us, Japan has no intention of paying any ransoms. Yuki Oikawa on the phone again up in New York from Tokyo. I was trying to see if there was an update, and of course I don't want to see bad news. But these guys, they will. You know, I hope that I know that we don't want anybody to lose their lives, but I wish that nobody would pay any ransoms. It's hard. It's easy to say that because I don't have somebody there of my own. Thank God. But
let me talk about this ransom. The $200 million ransom. This is the special point in this case, because if you look at the other cases of the kidnapping by ISIS, this case, $200 million ransom is the much more higher, 10 times higher than other cases, which is unrealistic. And maybe the current situation, the ISIS are suffering from the low oil price. The oil price became half, so that's why they lost their source of money. So they really need the money, and Japan is a rich company, so that's why they threaten and get money from Japan. That is maybe one reason. But on the other hand, this 200 million ransom demand is maybe sending the other political message, not only to Japan but also international community.
Can I ask you a question? I'm changing the subject a little bit, but it really but this subject with these ISIS guys has to do with with religion. So I wanted to ask you, in your opinion, I mean, you've looked at the world, you've looked at it as a journalist and as a commentator, and just a smart guy and an analytical guy. Religion, I'm not cutting down religion. I believe in God, so I guess I'll just get that off the bat. But it really seems to have been, throughout human history, one of the reasons why we battle each other. And it's all because one person will say, I believe this, and another person believes that, and for some reason we don't want that person to live. It makes no sense to me at all. I mean, in America, and I'm guessing this is true in Japan, we have come to an understanding that we all have a right to believe what we want to believe, but the rest of the world doesn't agree with that.
I know. Yeah. I understand what you want to say. So from the point of believing God, I think the many people believe in God. At the same time, there are many kinds of gods, many kinds of religions. So, for example, in the Middle East regions, there are the conflict between Jews and Arabs, and Christian countries and Islamic countries. So, in this sense, the country Japan, can play the different kind of role. Or, for example, the Mr. Abe, Prime Minister Abe, he visited the Middle Eastern countries the last week, and visited the Israel and the Palestinians, the other countries, the Egypt. So because the Abe would like to play important role in the Middle East region, because Japan is Buddhist country. So Buddhist country Japan can be the in the middle between the Jews, Arabs, Christian countries, Islamic countries.
Yeah.
So, and then in the future, we can realize we are living in under the philosophy of believing God, although the name of gods are different.
Do you think that Japan could be a better mediator between all the parties involved than the United States? Because it seems sometimes the U.S. might be dropping the ball or making errors.
I really respect the past Japanese, the American leaders as a mediator to try to solve this kind of difficult problems. And if Japanese leader do the same job, I know, which is very difficult, and but there must be a possibility, and the Japanese public opinion, the ordinary Japanese people realize that in the past, Japanese people worked so hard focusing on the economic prosperity, but now, so we became big enough economically, but if we want to, develop more, we need to take social or international responsibility in the world. So this is the public opinion in Japan. The Prime Minister Abe is representing this kind of the people's opinion.
Gosh.
Isn't it interesting when you look back at history how the United States was not involved in World War II until Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, and then we immediately were involved not only in a war with Japan, but also in the war in Europe, which we needed to be a part of way earlier than that, but for one reason or another we were staying out of that. But the invasion of Pearl Harbor, as bad as it was actually a good thing for Europe, because that got us into their fight, which ultimately led to the end of that stupid Nazi thing that was going on. Tell me about the book, Into the Storm of International Politics. How long has it been out?
Actually, this book is the public speech of the Oikawa. It's the president of my political party, the Happiness Realization Party.
I love that name.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks. Good name, isn't it? So the Oikawa, President Oikawa did this public speech last October, and right after his speech, we published this book in Japan because he mentioned the international current situation, including ISIS issue and China issue. So and then we just published the English edition of this book in U.S. So if you visit the Amazon.com, you can find it. And this book, the title "Into the Storm of International Politics," tell everything. The contents. Now, I think I'm hesitate to talk about this because this book criticizing the U.S. President, Mr. Obama. So after Obama became U.S. President, the whole world came into the storm. So this is what the book wants.
Because of him, or was it just timing?
Just timing, and also because of the Obama's administration, the global international community realized the United States stepped down from the leader of the free world, and then many chaos happening. So the ISIS is one of them.
ISIS, yeah.
And not only ISIS, but also Kim Jong-un in North Korea. So we have a large portion of the world that all is on the same page, wanting peace, wanting happiness, and then we have these little factions like ISIS and North Korea that seem to be still adamant about just causing destruction and keeping people's freedoms away from them.
That's right. The international law is now closely related, and it's like on the streets in a small town. So if you realize there is a policeman, so we keep the order. But if you know no policeman, so many problems happen. And we have to work hard to protect our peace by ourselves.
Okay, so in other words, and do you feel like our role in America as a policeman type of a role,
I know the American people's the mind, it's kind of the tired of the world policeman position. But I think the world need the leader.
Oh, I think so too. Oh yeah, I think I do agree with that. In fact, I think most of these listeners agree with that. Maybe not everybody, but I think most of them do. It is always great to talk to you. One of these days, I want to visit Japan. So I have one fun question for you. When you come to America, is there any one food that you can get here that you can't get there? What is it? Is it a bagel? What is it? You're in New York. What can you get that you can't get?
What is that? Let me think. What is that? I love American foods. Because when I was young, after graduation, I came to New York City. I joined the American company Merrill Lynch and in Wall Street. So I learned around there in Wall Street, so including the American lifestyle.
So Nathan's hot dog, right?
So I would say the sushi.
Sushi.
Sushi in New York is the best quality.
Sushi in New York.
Yeah.
Of all the things.
I'm serious because you can get the extremely fresh the seafood.
You better not tell your friends back home that. That's like telling somebody in Florida that the pizza is better than New York. They don't want to hear that. Yeah, you don't want to do that. The book again is called Into the Storm of International Politics. Yuki Oikawa, I was saying his name wrong earlier, is the author. And the book, how do we get the book?
Please visit Amazon.com and find Into the Storm of International Politics by Yuki Oikawa. And if you visit other website, okawabooks.com.
Okay, and our town, by the way, is Ocala. So your name almost sounds like our town.
Sorry, confusing. My name is Oikawa.
Oikawa.
My leader's name is Oikawa.
Thank you, Yuki. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. A U.S. ally in the war on terror, the Yemeni government collapsing under rebel attack.
Last night, Yemen's president, Abdel Mansour Hadi, his prime minister and cabinet all resigned amid pressure from the anti-American rebel group, the Houthis. Now President Hadi is out, and at this point, no one is really in charge except those aligned with the Houthis.
Fox's John Huddy. Two high